Amazon, Twitter, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft, just some of the companies that have taken precautions against COVID-19 and are allowing their employees to work from home. But as more employees are staying home, many are curious if productivity will drop. Our Anjali Kamlani is back with us now. And you talked to Rutgers School of Management and Labor Relations professor Bill Castellano about this issue of productivity.
Yeah, it's really interesting because as we're watching companies sort of take steps that they've already taken, right? We've already been talking about work from home as a concept for so long. And this is sort of like a catalyst right now. This outbreak is a catalyst for whether or not that is something that is sustainable in the long run. So you have a lot of these companies sort of doing back-end testing to see if they can handle a larger number of work at home. So listen to what he has to say about that.
This is a time that many companies are encouraging employees to work from home, to be proactive. Certainly if somebody's been exposed to the virus or has some minor symptoms, it makes sense to have people work from home. So organizations are looking at the technology that they need to have in place to make sure that their systems are secure, allowing employees to be able to access their desktop computing systems, their files, looking at different types of video conferencing type software so that they could continue to be interactive with coworkers and their managers. A lot of people who may not have positions that lend itself to telecommuting. I think some innovative companies are thinking about having those employees do some project work. And I'm seeing some other employers thinking about perhaps having employees maybe take some online classes to be productive. So making it as productive as possible for these employees to work from home.
Very interesting, especially the trying to find some other work for those who may not have the work from home flexibility. Does this change the tone for looking at the future of the workforce, and does it act as sort of a catalyst for making work from home more the norm?
Well, I think we've been seeing that trend for quite some time, and we've hit kind of a flat point. There was an acceleration of people working from home even in the 90s and early 2000s, and we've kind of flattened out over that period of time. More recently, I think a lot of the technology that exists to certainly enable people to be more productive and to have more interactions with their coworkers are allowing more employers to think about the benefits of having people work from home. And I think certainly this crisis is accelerating that trend. So we're pretty optimistic that this trend, meaning allowing people to work from home, will continue after this crisis subsides.
This is a nationwide spread, so are companies actually prepared to handle a company-wide, nationwide strategy?
It's going to be a challenge. I mean, certainly the larger companies that have the resources, that have policies already in place, have the advantage. Smaller or mid-sized companies, I think, will have a challenge. So I think the government will have to step in to perhaps provide some resources and assistance to help those companies as well.
So what sort of resources can they roll out at the federal level to help?
Well, I think the key thing will be for employers, small employers that are actually closing. I think that's a very different situation where workers will have to just stay at home. They may not have the ability to do any kind of work, particularly if these are kinds of retail stores. In that case, I think the government should think about passing legislation, kind of a modified unemployment insurance to help those individuals continue to get some kind of compensation. That certainly can help increase demand, which is a big problem in the economy, with many people staying at home and not being productive. For smaller companies that have the ability for people to work at home, providing assistance with video conferencing type technologies, different kinds of networks that they can access. I think a lot of the technology companies are also being proactive and are expanding their services to different companies. They may have previously only looked at larger companies, but they're now marketing their services to smaller, mid-sized companies as well.
So really looking at, what can the federal level do? What can the state level do in terms of helping to incentivize, helping companies to hold over, especially on the smaller scale, as this outbreak continues, who gets affected the most.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.